QB Carson Wentz for the Minnesota Vikings, his former college coach, Coach Randy Hedberg, joined us, and we talked a little bit about kind of what's been going on with the QB situation. Jim Rich, do you want to join us now? Hi, Jimmy. How's it going?
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Better than Carson Wentz.
Oh gosh, that we all saw it play out, right? That night of the Chargers, and even prior to that, it sounds like he was really struggling. And now the bombshell yesterday that we learned that his left shoulder is so messed up that he's got to undergo a surgery, out for the season. But also there's a lot of fallout and kind of questions, some probably fair questions around, how did we get here and where do we go from here, Jimmy? So what are you seeing here today?
I'm stunned at what I witnessed. And for this team to know he was injured way back in London, and you had no plan for Brosmer to come in. I mean, your job is to win football games, right? That's their job. Okay, but we're making sure it's just so weird because we're making sure that JJ McCarthy is the picture of health. Can't hangnail, nothing. He has to be absolutely perfect. Yet we're going to throw a guy out there with a busted shoulder. I mean, it's crazy. What's Brosmer there for? Or why did you not go get another quarterback if you knew this guy was this dinged up? And that's fine that Carson Wentz says he's going to play and, I'm going in there, I'm a warrior. Yeah, that's right. That's why they have concussion protocol. That's why there's people upstairs that buzz down and says, hey, the guy still wants to play, but then he walks to the wrong sideline. There's a reason you have to protect the player. And even if Wentz is fine and they couldn't do more damage, he wasn't going to win you that football game with one arm. You could see it. He couldn't run anymore. The pain was so bad he couldn't get out of his own way. So why do you not have a situation where Brosmer's ready to go? And you could go back to last year's playoff game after Darnold was a disaster against Detroit, and you had Daniel Jones sitting there, yet you didn't have one package for Daniel Jones to change it up. You just ran the exact same offense you ran the week before that got annihilated by the Lions, and then he got annihilated in the playoffs. It's very strange for this guy to be a quarterback's coach, supposedly, and let the guy go out there and hang himself. It was crazy to watch.
You represent so many fans right now that we're seeing, on social media who are feeling the same way, Jimmy. And so, I guess what are the questions for the organization at this point? Some of which I think and I think you would agree, are fair questions to ask.
Well, you're here to win games. It's not like baseball, where they'll have a bullpen game and, whatever, our pitchers are tired. Whatever, we got 162 of these. There's only 17. You can't throw away games and say, well, we're waiting for JJ to get healthy. No, you got to come up every game and try to figure out how to win. I mean, it was just like O'Connell stood there on the sidelines and just watched it. You had Aaron Jones back, you had everybody healthy, and you rushed the ball 5 times in the first half with a quarterback with a broken shoulder. This is like, you're not even giving yourself a chance to win. It was very weird. Yeah. And then he goes 1 for 6 in the Eagles game in the red zone. So, and the throws were off, and we're going like, oh, he's a little battered, whatever. He's trying to play through it. I mean, you have to adapt on the fly. And O'Connell is supposed to be this great offensive coach and knows all this stuff. Well, come up with some different things or try something. And if Brosmer goes in there and throws 2 pick sixes, okay, then we know. But then he's got to answer the question like Zim when he talked about Kellen Mond. When we go, why aren't you putting Kellen Mond in? What did Zim say? I've seen him in practice.
Oh, wow.
Remember that?
Yeah, you've
and
been
then
around
Zim
long enough
just
to
got
remember that.
roasted by
That's right.
everybody
That's right.
For being honest.
I
Can't play.
wanted to. So we'll hear from KOC tomorrow, I believe. They have their Wednesday press conference that we'll take live.
Yep.
But Jeff Wald put into our Slack here that KOC did that weekly segment that he does with Paul Allen this morning, and it says talked extensively about Carson Wentz, and he shared a tweet here from Kevin Seifert, of course, who writes for ESPN, one of the longtime writers here for who's covered the Vikings beat. It says Kevin O'Connell. This is Kevin's tweet. Says Kevin O'Connell on Carson Wentz during his weekly K-Fan appearance. Quote: "There was never a point in time where medically we were going against the grain of what was in Carson's best interest, and ultimately what Carson wanted to kind of see through." We're not used to this, Jimmy. We are not used to this kind of a hot spotlight on the coaching staff and otherwise. Where do we kind of go from here as far as like where do they go next week with this? How do they navigate this really kind of awkward situation that's out there?
Well, there's nothing left to navigate. He's gone for surgery. He's out of here. So Wentz is done. I mean, you don't have to worry about that. What you're going to see is he's also said, I was listening to, and he said that JJ is going to start. Roseburg will be the backup, and they'll go out shopping today for a third string quarterback. And, that's fine. And I understand Wentz couldn't hurt himself anymore. I'm not going to argue that with those guys. The doctors say, fine, if he wants to do it, do it. But he couldn't win you the game. That's what we're here for. We're here to try and win the game, guys. And he couldn't move. He couldn't throw the ball. There was nothing happening. And he couldn't get out of the way. Yes, the offensive line is hurt. And, maybe Brosper would get crushed too. But you got to try something. That whole second half, you couldn't watch it. You had to watch TV like this to see how bad it was going to be. It was like, people they always slow down when there's a wreck on 494. You look over the other lane to see the pieces of car laying there.
So hard to watch. It really was. Okay, so let's talk about, clearly, if, KOC has said that JJ will start, but, we'll see what we get there. None of us really still know what we have there. But we gotta kind of talk about Max Brosmer too, because he's a big part of this, given the track record of this season. We have to lean into that a little bit and look at that as fans. We haven't been privy to as much. We've seen a little glimpse here and there. We saw preseason, really good stuff. What are your thoughts on Brosmer as a solid second here, or potentially somebody who would have to step up if heaven forbid something happened again to JJ?
I don't know how he gets in a game if you got Wentz laying on the field. You still won't put him in until there's 2 minutes left. It's just crazy. Get him in. I don't know. They see him. They work with him. We're just on the outside. You and I have the same amount of knowledge as to what he is and what he can bring. Yeah. He seems smart. He seems like he knows what's going on. He did well in the preseason. He was fine in those 2 minutes that he played, right? Threw 3 or 4 passes, did whatever. It wasn't a complete disaster for him. So I don't know. We'll have to see. But I don't know where you go. But he's at least can get out of the way of the rush. Okay. Right? Wentz couldn't move anymore. Yeah. And that's what you were doing. It was just rinse and repeat, put him out there, get him sacked again. So Max, I think will be fine, and these guys, Carson Wentz is fighting for his job. He needs somebody else to sign him after this season. Yeah. So you look at Anthony Richardson, the quarterback of the Colts, who said that, I need to take myself out of the game. And where is he now? He's out of the game, basically, and Daniel Jones has taken his job. So you're never going to get a quarterback saying, I need to come out. I know it. Jimmy, thank you. There's so much more we need to talk about tomorrow, though. KOC, big day. We'll take that live tomorrow here on All Day, and we'll just kind of watch to see how this plays out. But thanks for popping in. We'll see you in just a little bit. Okay. Have a good one. See you in a bit.